Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Kaisa Penn. I suspect that District Governor Vance Lewis is on his way, but the show got to go on. How you doing? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. I'm doing very well, thanks. Good to be here tonight.
Yes, haven't seen you in a while.
I know it's been a while.
I didn't know you were still living here.
It's sad that it takes me coming on your show for us to see each other. Huh?
That's right. I remember when you used to come to the house regularly. When
I know when I was growing up.
Yes. You're one of my children. I was telling somebody today you're one of my children.
Yeah.
But it's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yes. So you were part of the 2008 group study exchange that Rotary had on a regular basis.
Yes.
Yeah. How was that?
In actuality, the group that went off in 2008, we were the first group or team really to leave from the BVI. So that in itself was something historical, or is something historical. I guess before I get into explaining a little bit about my experience, in the absence of DG Vance, I'll just talk a little bit about the program or what I can recall.
I was saving that for him, but you could go ahead.
Yeah, because I guess it'll be a bit difficult for viewers to follow if I don't at least see what it is.
Okay.
GSC, which is what it's popularly known as, stands for Group Study Exchange, and it's a Rotary International Foundation program that is set up to assist in the advancement and the networking and connection for young professionals, working professionals, to give them the opportunity to experience their vocations in other countries. In addition to experiencing your vocation, you also have the opportunity to learn of the culture and the people there within the countries that you visit. The first outbound team that went from the BVI, it was a 5-member team. It consisted of our leader, who was Miss Yvonne Crabb. It was Al Kwame Nibs. I'm sure viewers might know who that is. But it was Al Kwame Nibs, Mia Forbes, Watley Forbes, Curtis Davies, and myself. We spent 4 weeks hopping from different areas within the South Coast of Virginia, where we got the chance to, of course, like I described the program function as, we got the chance to experience our vocations and the cultures and people of that particular region of Virginia.
So you experienced what kind of vocations? The things that you were interested in? Or?
Precisely.
Okay, so what was that?
In my application process, I listed 2 areas, one of which is HR, and that's my main profession, my main career right now. And the other one was in environmental studies, or area on the environment.
And in Virginia, you had programs that were set up for you to look at to see what they were doing in human resource administration and environment and so on.
Right. In the period of that 4 weeks, each day we had the opportunity to, or at least 3 days out of each week, we had the opportunity to visit a particular business that was related to our vocation. I recall from my experience, I was able to visit, I think it was nine different companies in Virginia, where I got to sit with their HR departments and discuss my specialization, which is succession planning. So it was really interesting and exciting, but the vocations is just one part of it.
Yeah. What did you learn from your interaction with those companies that
I didn't know before?
You didn't know before, and that was different to what you were doing, or enhance your ability to perform your duties better? Okay.
Let me say this before I answer that. I find that this particular program, and I think we've been advertising it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which it really is. Because of my area of specialization, which is HR, and within HR I specialize in strategic succession planning. I've learned through research, because one of my responsibilities is the identification of development programs and things of that nature. Through my research, I've learned that once you have graduated from university and you have started working and you're working for at least 2 years and up, there aren't many opportunities for exposure. That's in my research. I'm sure that, there might be someone that can say otherwise, but from my research, I've not found a whole lot of opportunities available for professionals who are working and who are new to their areas. So this particular program provided that opportunity for me. I had finished university, I think 2 years before I applied to participate in the program, and I was working for at least 2 years. So I had some background knowledge coming from university. I had the book sense, as we would say. I had the academics, and then having to work, the period of time that I worked for the 2 years, that did give me some experience, but I still did not feel that I was an expert in my field. So having the opportunity to go on the GSC or being a part of the GSC team, and my experience in Virginia and interacting with those HR professionals there helped me to make the connection between what I learned in university, the 2 years experience that I had on the job, and my own thoughts and opinions on things, as well as the culture of my organization, and helped me to develop my own thoughts in my area. Besides that, it gave me confidence because having the opportunity to sit with other HR professionals, share my experiences, share my own thoughts on my own theories, it definitely helped in boosting my confidence, because I realized that I wasn't too far off in my thinking.
You found out you know what you know.
Exactly. I found that being there helped me realize that I really knew what I was talking about.
You knew something.
Yes. So.
Okay, so that was great.
Yes.
So the desired outcome of this program is to enhance professionals.
Professionals, exactly. Working professionals who are entry level to some degree, and who are wanting to be exposed. Because sometimes you get stuck in a rut, and you kind of lose sense of direction. So for me, the participating in the program really assisted in giving me some direction and helping me to develop as a professional that confidence that I needed.
So how do you get to participate in this program?
That was the intimidating part about it initially. It's actually a competitive process. You have to apply. You apply using the identified application form. I think in addition to that, you submit, if I recall correctly, a bio or a paragraph explaining, sorry, not a paragraph, but a short something explaining.
A short essay?
Yes, explaining why you should be the one given the opportunity to participate. So that's basically the application process. So they go through a process of screening, you're interviewed, and then they select from applicants and persons interviewed.
And persons that want to apply have to meet what criteria?
I think this is where DG Vance would probably do best, but if I can recall from my experience going through the process, you had to list your particular vocation. I think the new forms.
Do you have an age group?
Yes, there's an age group. Let's start there. It's for professionals between the ages of 25 to 40 who have at least 2 years working experience in their particular fields. Those are the basic requirements in addition to the application process. But like I was saying before, I think the new application also allows you to indicate your vocation. So there's a checkbox, I think, that allows you to check off which particular industry you're interested in.
Okay, and then based on your selection of that box, with what industry, they select the organizations, yes, and the place where you're going to go, or,
exactly,
or that place is selected and they fit you into that. How does that work?
I know a lot of it has to do with partnerships, because really, and again, this is where DG Vance can speak to, the program is funded by Rotary. So your travel is paid for by Rotary. You are housed, I guess, by Rotarians. So there is no out-of-pocket expense. for persons.
You just have to carry money to buy souvenirs.
Yes, basically, and any treats you want to get for yourself. So, with that,
how was that experience with the families, living with the families? How was that for you?
That was one of the hardest parts for me.
Why was that?
We moved basically every 2 to 3 days. So each time we had to pack up and move into the home with a new family, and it took getting to know those persons and adjusting, and then before you were fully adjusted, you had to leave. But there was a special circumstances that caused that type of movement. Is that the regular way that it's done? Because I thought that you went to one family. It's a Rotary thing. Really.
I thought you went to one family and you stayed there for the 4 weeks or the 6 weeks.
No, it's a Rotary thing.
You have to keep moving around.
Yes, because like I mentioned, it's funded by Rotary. So you not only spend time being exposed to your vocations and the cultures, you're also spending time with the different Rotary groups throughout the areas that you go to. So within Virginia, I think there were 10 clubs, and all of the clubs were located in different areas. So we had to visit those clubs as well to make presentations about who we were, about our country, our culture, etc. So because of that, we had to move from location to location. Exactly.
Okay. And what kind of things that did you guys talk about the BVI's culture and what?
We had an elaborate presentation on.
So that's something that you prepared.
We prepared that in advance before leaving.
You took your culture down off the shelf and you packaged it. And
exactly. Exactly. So we had a PowerPoint presentation. Each of the 5 members had a different segment that they had to speak about. My portion, if I recall correctly, was about the flag. So I spoke about the flag.
About the BVI flag?
Yes, the flag, okay. History behind the flag. I think we also presented on the foods, music, and I think general government, on the setup of government.
Did y'all cook any fungi and fish for them?
We didn't, but I showed them, we showed them pictures of fungi and fish.
Okay.
And they also got a treat because it was the time that the first team went, it was late in the year, so it was around Christmas time. So I made black cakes, and I took it was about 25 black cakes, if I recall correctly, and we shared those with each of the families that we stayed with. So they got to experience the taste of some BVI culture.
So these families were like husband, wife,
yes,
children?
Yes, and they were Rotarians as well.
They were Rotarians. Okay.
Yes, so they were the ones as well that set up the vocations, which is what I was trying to speak to earlier. Many of the opportunities, the vocational opportunities, were ones where Rotarians worked. And Rotarians, if you know anything about Rotary, Rotarians are well connected. So we had the opportunity to visit many types of organizations where Rotarians work.
Okay. How did their culture impact you?
I don't know how much you know about Virginia, but for me it was such a revelation, because I didn't realize how much the history of the BVI or the Caribbean on a whole was connected to Virginia. One of the first sites that we went to, I'm putting my memory to test, was the Jamestown settlement, which was the first town, I think, where the Europeans settled in the U.S. It was in Virginia, and there we visited that site one day, and there they showed us the map of how the Europeans came in. They came down to the Caribbean, they stopped in the Caribbean, and then went up to Virginia, because at that time Virginia was a main stop. So we realized that there were some connections in our history. The culture, but besides the Jamestown settlement, we realized that Virginia is it's really one of the most historical states in the U.S.
So when you say the Europeans came down to the Caribbean and then went to Jamestown, how do you mean that?
That's the you're putting me on the spot regarding history. That's the I think it's the triangular.
Well, the transatlantic slave trade.
Exactly, that's
transatlantic slave
you got
trade.
it. Yes.
Okay. So, all right, yeah. So Jamestown was one of the places where
It was the
Africans were distributed.
Yes.
And was sold and distributed throughout the colonies.
Yes.
At that time.
Yes. That's where they had the first Thanksgiving, and I'm sure you heard of the story of Pocahontas and all that. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So these families you were staying with, were they of European descent?
Some of them were. They were in fact mixed. A lot of them were mixed. I think there was one group that was Native American, or had relatives that were Native Americans, but the majority were European.
And they talked to you about the transatlantic slave trade coming through Jamestown?
Yes, well, the persons that were responsible for that, a particular historical site, did give us a lot of information
about that.
On that.
Okay. Then how comfortable was that conversation for you?
It was quite comfortable. Like I said, it was somewhat of a revelation because I didn't realize how much we connected.
Okay.
But it was, I've always loved history, regardless of,
And the other members of the team, what did they go to different vocations,
yes.
But then they stayed at different homes, or y'all stayed at the same
We stayed
home?
at different homes.
You stayed at different homes?
Yes, we each, there were one or few instances where because there was two males, two females, where both groups stayed with one family, but for the majority of the time we each had our own families that we stayed with. Yeah.
Okay. And you could talk about your experience, but how did you all link up at any time and share the experience?
We spent. Do you mean following the experience or during the experience?
During the experience. Once you all went to Virginia and you stayed at different homes.
Right. We saw each other every day.
Oh, okay.
Because we had to make presentations, and we did our vocations separate, but for the most part we had meals except for lunch together. So we usually, breakfast and lunch, we at least had dinner together.
Okay.
So we weren't separated.
Okay. So this is something that you encourage everybody to take advantage of this opportunity.
I mean, when I returned home, I hit the ground as I got back. Talking about the experience.
You came back
yes,
excited.
I was so excited. And at that time, I didn't have an answer on what the next one would be, but I had started spreading the word about Rotary and about GSC and the wonderful experience I had participating in the program. I recall when I was signing up, filling out my application, I thought about what my employer would say. Her was asking for 4 weeks away from work.
I was just getting ready to ask you that.
Yeah, Harold was asking for 4 weeks away from work to go on an experience that wasn't purely vocational, because it wasn't. I thought about how they would take that, and luckily.
And who you were working for at that time?
I'm still with the same employer. I've been working for the Department of Human Resources.
Okay, so you're working with the government.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And they agreed to let you go.
Yes, I mean, from an employer's perspective, it is a worthwhile investment, because you invest nothing besides allowing your employees to go on the opportunity.
To give them the time off.
To give them the time. And then, of course, you lose that time with them from work, but then once they're back, they come back enriched.
They bring back so much.
They bring back so much more. Exactly. So, yeah.
So that sound cool. Now let's talk a little. Well, I want to take a break. Before I talk about a little bit about Rotary itself.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about how to get in touch with, how to get an application, how to go through the process, so you could be selected. We're going to come right back with more Spotlight right after this. Keep it locked right here to JTV.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Tortola Concrete Limited, and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Kaisa Penn. She's a Rotarian, and she's one of those persons that's been on the group study exchange program that Rotary is. It's an annual program?
No, it's not. The first one was in 2008, so this is the second time we're doing it. So it seems as if it's every 3 to 4 years.
Every 3 to 4 years. And we've been talking about the experiences that you've been having, you've had, I should say, you've had, and the importance of that experience to not just you, but to the employer.
Right.
So employers that could confronted, or not confronted, but whose employees want to go on this trip should allow them to go.
Right.
Yeah. How do you said you fill out an application, you write an essay.
Right.
Who do you contact to go through that process?
I know that there's a committee in place that's responsible for the whole recruitment of the GSC team members. But I believe any Rotarian can give information and guidance. On the Rotary International or the Rotary Foundation's website, the application is there. Persons can go on and get the application as well.
And that's where our website is, just...
I don't recall it, sorry, but it's if you Google Rotary Foundation GSC program, you'll find it. Yeah, okay. It's pretty popular around the world.
Okay, so you can get an application on the site? On the site,
or from any Rotarian. I'm sure they may have hard copies of it. And you pull it up from the website or from any Rotarian, and you complete it and submit it with your essay.
Okay.
I don't have information in terms of the deadline, though.
Anybody that want to call, the number's on the screen, or you want to send a text, you got comments you want to make, questions you want to ask, feel free to do so. So you apply, and then they contact you, and you do a number to call if you have a challenge with the site, or any other problems you may have with someone you call?
Not that I'm aware of. Again, I think there are Rotarians throughout the community.
You meet a Rotarian and you can ask them about it, and
they can tell you about the GSC program.
And of course, it's all expense paid.
All expense paid.
Meals, transportation, everything.
Everything. That's like a steal of a deal for employers.
Okay. You're a member of Rotary of Rotown.
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not yet a Rotarian.
What you got down after?
Yes, this is my
that's your GSC jacket?
Jacket, yes.
And what's that?
We had some of the pins, the lapels that I received from the different clubs that we went to and made presentation.
Okay.
I couldn't hold all of them on my jacket, so I just have a few.
Yeah.
Okay. But we had a full uniform, different color polos.
So you got on your yellow polo, Rotary polo, and
yes.
It's all GSC. It's all GSC.
All GSC.
Okay. So how come you enjoy Rotary?
Personal challenges, but I do intend on joining Rotary.
Okay.
Rotary is an awesome organization.
I was hoping to pick your brain about
I can tell you some stuff.
So you went your Rotaries. You're not a member, and they send you on this all expense paid trip as a professional, as a young professional that expose you to the culture of different countries, different persons, along with organizational culture, organizational structures, and so on. And what relationship has remained after you came back? I have to say, I think that you don't have to be a member of Rotary.
In fact, that's one of the requirements. You can't be a member of Rotary.
Okay. You can't
be a member of Rotary to apply to participate in the GSC.
Okay. So, what relationship did you form after coming back with Rotary? Let me answer this call.
Sure.
Thank you for calling Spotlight. Go right ahead, please. Go right ahead. You're on Spotlight.
Yes. Hi. Good evening. And this is Vance Lewis.
Yes, District Governor. Where are you?
Well, I'm not in the studio, but I'm calling it. And unfortunately, I couldn't join you in the studio tonight. But I've done the next best thing.
Okay, well, I don't have any questions to ask you.
I tried.
Kaisa answered all the questions. What was the one question that you couldn't answer?
Contact details, I think.
Contact details. Yeah. Do you have any contact details?
The contact details to me?
For the GSC, the group.
I'm not sure what the contact details have been published, but what we will do is we will make sure we put the contact details out to the media. We'll put it out in the internet media, and we'll put it out in the newspapers.
Okay.
But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the program. Although I know Ms. Penn, who would be on the show, would have done a marvelous job, because she already has been one of the exchange students to Virginia a couple of years ago, and she did a marvelous job. So,
yes, she did a good job. She did a good job of explaining about the program. But you could tell us, the origin of the program and the importance of it, and let's hear it from you.
Yeah, well, essentially, Group Study Exchange is one of the programs of the Rotary Foundation. Rotary has a very comprehensive foundation that deals with literacy. It deals with youth in many ways. It deals with the cultural aspects of Rotary. And one of the flagship things that it's done is eradicate polio. But specifically, Group Study Exchange was meant to allow young people between the ages of 25 and 40 to be able to visit another area, or rather exchange young people with another area, and look at how their vacation is carried out in that area, and bring back best practice to their home country so that their vacation will be improved as a result of that. But it's more than that as well. It's also a cultural exchange as well, because if you imagine now, British Virgin Islands will be sending a team to Southeast Texas, and for Rotary, that is District 5910, I think it is. But we will be able to send 4 young people from the British Virgin Islands to Texas, all paid for by Rotary, and they will be able to look at how their vacation is carried out in Texas. And one of the reasons why I chose Texas, because Galveston is included, and Galveston is a small island. Not many other places that were on offer had islands. And I thought that the British Virgin Islands would have some similar aspects to Galveston as well.
Any particular vocation the person that's going to be going from here going to be taking a look at?
We want all useful vocations, anything at all. We accept anything. There's going to be, the panelists are going to be, the candidates for the Group Study Exchange will be selected selected by a group. The team leader is past President Lloyd Black. At the moment, and once the panelists are selected, we will look at the vocations and how they complement each other. Then we will exchange that information with the distant end, and the distant end will arrange for vocational visits, vocational tours, and if any sort of training is needed at all, even training, the candidates are going to have to do presentations, because they're also ambassadors for the British Virgin Islands as well. They're ambassadors for the Rotary District 7020, and based on what we saw from the last team, we know that teams that come out from the British Virgin Islands will give a very good account of themselves.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious to find out how the match was made. So it's a process where you select persons, and then you take their vocations and you match it with a vocation in the place that you're going to send them. That's how that works?
Yes, that's how it works. There will be a team from Texas coming back to the British Virgin Islands as well. They're going to be coming here on the 11th of May, and they're going to be spending 4 weeks in the southern part of the district. They will be visiting the British Virgin Islands between the 11th and the 18th, and then they're going to go to St. Martin, St. Thomas, and St. Croix. That's the southern part of District 7020. And during that time, we will also set up a similar program for them, because we will know what their vocations are. For instance, if you had someone who had a vocation associated with scuba diving, then we will know that we should attach them to scuba diving entities. where they can actually look at how we do it in these areas and allow them to better their skills, so when they go back, they are going to be enriched with that experience.
When is the deadline for applications?
I think the established deadline is the middle of November. I've been traveling quite a bit, Mr. MC. So I've just gotten back from Jamaica for a long time, but I think our established deadline is the middle of November. But I stand to be corrected on that. We'll make sure when we put the contact details out as well, that is clearly and firmly established. I don't know whether Mr. Penn would know that. Would you, Kaiser?
I'm sorry, DG, I am not aware at this time.
Okay. But I think that's what it is. So we would expect people to begin sending applications in now. And the sooner people can send applications in, the better. Because
and when will they be going off? When will they leave here?
They will leave here on the 8th, I think it's the 8th of April. And they come back on the 11th of May.
So the applications are important now so that you can prepare to leave at that time. You have to prepare the training, the presentations, the matches, getting the homes, the families hooked up in Texas, and all the logistics has to be done before you leave. So that's the reason why it's planned in advance.
Exactly, and there's another reason as well. When young people go away for any period of time, you'd want to make sure that they know each other, they're comfortable with each other, they are a team. So we allow several months for the group to meld together as a team, and it is this process which enables the team to work so well. I know Ms. Penn can speak to this because they spent quite some time coming together as a team,
sure did.
And when they went, they functioned as a comprehensive unit. And when they came back, they said it was a life-changing experience. And I'm sure she can confirm that.
Well, yes, we had a great conversation. She was talking about, how she found out in her travels and her opportunity that she actually knew something, because the places that she went, so she was able to hold her own from a knowledge-based perspective, and
Exactly.
and it gave us a lot of confidence. So I thought that was important.
Right.
Yes, and we've had teams here before I think we've had a team from Australia last. We've had a team from Virginia.
From Virginia as
because
well.
When Ms. Penn and Ms. Crabb and the other members went from BVI in 2008, Virginia sent a team back the following year. And the team passed through BVI, but the conference center is in Troy. The good news this Rotary year, is that when the team comes from Texas to the BVI, they are coming to present to the first ever British Virgin Islands District Conference, which is going to be held between the 14th and 18th of May. So not only will we be having a conference for the first time, a district conference for the first time for Rotary, but for the first time we're going to have group study exchange students presenting at our conference. And I know the BVI team will go to Texas, but there's a second team that we're sending out from the district, and this team will be exchanged between Jamaica and India, East India. And that Indian team will be coming back at the same time. So there will actually be 4 group study exchange teams here during that week that I just spoke about, between May 13th and May 19th.
Okay.
It's going to be Jamaica, India, British Virgin Islands, and Southeast Texas.
I've learned that this was a 4-year space of time between the exchange. Is it going to be every 4 years, or is it going to increase in frequency, or is it going to continue?
No, there is no specific requirement for spacing, how often it is, but the foundation is changing somewhat, so the makeup and the type of teams will change slightly beginning next year. But the fact that the British Virgin Islands got a team this year, it's mainly because the district governor, who I wanted to showcase the BVI, and I wanted to make sure that we had a chance not only to showcase BVI to visitors, but also to once again showcase what we have by sending them out and letting young people get a chance to envision their skills. The last time when we had it in 2008, it was the governor was then from St. Croix, and he offered me the opportunity. I was then the special rep for him. He offered me the opportunity to help form a team, and I am proud to say that I was associated with the team that went out in 2008, and they had a wonderful time, I believe. So this is just a second chance. In the future, we will have other chances again, because the different countries, the 10 districts that make up District 7020, the different countries can actually vie for putting a team out, and it's up to the district governor to accept or not to accept.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about the upcoming district conference, and I intend to ask you about that and to give that some publicity as well. Tell me again when that's going to be happening.
So the formal dates are going to be the 14th till the 18th of May. That's a Tuesday till Saturday. But we expect delegates to begin arriving from the Saturday before, and we expect delegates to not only stay till the day after, but perhaps until the week after, because the BVI Music Fest will be the following weekend. So we are marketing this as a whole experience for the BVI. It's a whole Rotary and a cultural experience.
And how many visitors you bring in this year at that time?
Now, Adrianka, that's a very good question, because our initial estimates were 500, and then based on some of the feedback and the early registrations, we started saying 550. As I go through it, one of the roles of the district governor is to visit all the clubs in the district. There are 82 clubs in the 10 countries, and as I go through the district, one of the things I'm finding out is there's a lot of interest overseas for people to come to the British Virgin Islands, because we haven't as yet hosted a conference. We haven't had a governor before, and a lot of people have heard of the natural beauty of the BVI, the warmth of the people, and they want to experience it. So, for instance, I've been in Jamaica since September 2nd, and they are making all kind of plans how to come to BVI. So we are really looking forward to hosting more than 600 people here. And that's for 1 week or more.
It's going to be a huge event.
It is going to be a huge event, and we are also planning special events, to at least one special event to include the people, not just Rotarians. We want to make the visiting Rotarians get a feel for what people in the BVI are like, get a feel for experiencing the warmth, get a feel for experiencing our food, our culture, our customs. So we want to make sure we have one event which is geared to making sure that there's interaction with the public, and I think people will enjoy it.
Can you tell us about some of the things that's going to be on the conference agenda?
Well, it is a work in progress at the moment, but we have, for the first day and a half, training of the president-elect for the people who take office next year. So president-elect and secretaries-elect will be trained for the first day and a half. And then the next day, we're going to have training for all other attendees who are not holding offices, or some other people who are not presidents and secretaries. And then we have a formal opening ceremony where we have, it's really highlighted by a flag ceremony. All the flags are on the national anthem, all national anthems are played, and then the conference formally opens. And the conference is then on the Friday. During the conference, you're going to have a lot of motivational speakers, and you're going to have a lot of Rotary moments on display, a lot of people talking about why they want to be Rotarian, a lot of what is the BVI like, putting the BVI on display. We hope we're going to have something green associated with our conference, and on the Saturday we do some district business, and then in the evenings we also have different events. What I described just now, all day events. Every evening we're going to have a different event, and our different events will take place in different areas, so people will really get a chance to see the BVI.
And what kind of evening events are you planning? Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, there's some cocktail receptions, but I know one of the things that we're looking at is a big cultural event coming through probably on Friday evening. We're going to put BVI culture on display. Culture in the form of music, culture in the form of dancing, culture in the form of anything BVI. So that is a work in progress at the moment, and that's where we expect maximum participation from the public.
Okay. Now, Rotary, of course, has been perhaps one of the premier service organizations in the world, and of course, there's a lot of service programs that you're involved in here in the BVI. Can you tell us something about the services that the Rotary is involved in here in the territory?
Well, let me start by first of all telling listeners about Rotary. Rotary is a volunteer organization, a service organization, if you may, of business and professional people. We are about 1.2 million strong globally. We operate in more than 200 countries, and we are all about changing lives for the better. We change lives globally, and we have changed lives globally through our flagship project, which is polio. Polio, our journey to eradicate polio began in 1985. And in that time, you had several thousands of polio cases on a daily basis. I can tell you that as of September 11th this year, there were 133 cases of polio arising in 3 endemic countries. And 2 years ago, there were 1,352 cases of polio arising in 4 endemic countries. This year, in January, India was declared polio-free. And by virtue of India being polio-free, Rotary has made a lot of progress on this. And Rotary alone can't take the credit because we work in conjunction with the United Nations. We work in conjunction with other countries who have done this. But Rotary has been in the forefront as a service organization, making sure that our mission to eradicate polio happens. And the WHO actually predicts that polio will be eradicated somewhere between 2014 and 2015 at the rate that we're going. Now, closer to home in the British Virgin Islands, we have done a lot to help with respect to young lives. We have at least 2 Early Act clubs that are sponsored. Early Act is one of our younger families between the ages of 5 and 12. We instill leadership qualities in those kids. Teach them basically what is a good leader, what is a bad leader, traits you should aim for. So we mentor them. And then there's another group called Interact. We have one Interact club at the moment, which is I think somewhere around 50 strong. And we have interactors between the ages of 12 and 18 roughly. And then we have Rotary, which goes from 18 up to 30. And Rotary will be our young professionals who are going to be tomorrow's leaders. And we also look to partner with them and to make sure that they're ready to take over the reins tomorrow. So that's us working with the youth. But we also sponsor schools as well. Different clubs will sponsor schools, and they will make sure that students in those schools have got books when necessary. They'll make sure that at Christmas time there are gifts and the like. And we read to school to some of the schools, but we basically take care of them. For instance, another Rotary Club of Rotown did the playground equipment at the Innis Adams School just because the equipment that was there wasn't safe. And we did it in conjunction with the education department, with the government. So we are willing partners with the government in most of the things that we do, but willing partners also with the community as well. We've also done considerable work with the hospital, with the dialysis unit at the hospital. We have put several dialysis machines because we know that at the moment we have been unable to meet demand. And so we work wherever we can see holes in the community. We work to make sure that we can change lives for the better. I hope I've given you a good feel for some of the things we do. And of course, that list is not exhaustive because there are 3 Rotary clubs here, and each of the clubs are very active in terms of serving the community. Our oldest club, mother club, if you may, is the Rotary Club of Smallholder. Some 90 members. They've been in business they've been in existence for some 44 years, and that's been 44 years of good to the British Virgin Islands. And one of the reasons Rotary is so well respected in the BVI, it's because people understand what we do. We go back and we give a good account of projects we do. They see us. We're always visible throughout the community. We help individuals who may have issues. I know there's one individual who has cancer right now that we're working with, and there are a lot of other people who have health issues, who cannot afford it, that we try and help. So we're on the full gamut of changing lives.
Yeah. Well, it certainly is a lot of service to the community. One One thing I would personally like to see, and I'm wondering why, I wonder if Rotary would be inclined to involve themselves in the rehabilitation process. You know, over the last few years, we've had an increase in youth antisocial behavior, particularly crime, and I was wondering if that's something that Rotary wanted to look at in terms of a program, or just using its influence to help to reverse that trend of young people getting involved in not only crime but other types of antisocial behavior.
Azarenko, let me say this. You are right up our alley. This year, the Rotary International theme is Peace Through Service. The Rotary year begins July 1st until June 30th. And peace means many things. But it also means, one of the things it also means is an end to the violent conflicts that have destroyed, threatened to destroy the very fabric of our society, and especially destroying young lives. We are working to make sure that we have some programs where we teach young people conflict resolution skills, so that the first thought that comes isn't conflict. Because we also teach that cooperation is more productive than conflict. And I recently, while I was in Jamaica, saw a program called Back to Life. In this Back to Life program, they've looked at some of their prisons. We had young men, primarily young men, more so than young women, who have been incarcerated from gun crimes right down. And Rotary is running a program to actually get them back as useful communities, community, not only community individuals, but community leaders. I was really, really proud of that, and I've told some of the Rotarians in Jamaica that this needs to be exported. I've seen other programs happening in other places. For instance, in St. Martin, Rotary has this program called Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and His Excellency the Governor in St. Martin wanted me as District Governor to help with some of the youth issues they're seeing there, as a result of which we're bringing this Rotary Youth Leadership Awards program to St. Martin next February. And during our district conference in May, we are going to be bringing something here for the youth as well. So, I don't want to spoil my own thunder, but we have something which is going to be, and it's not going to be a one-shot event. It's going to be continuing once we do it. So we'll take some time getting it implemented because we're doing needs analysis, but we are going to make sure that some of these young people have skills which will enable them to tackle some of the more complex issues we're seeing right now in society.
Well, my brother, we've fallen at 8 o'clock. But certainly, it was good to have you on the phone. There's a lot of information, and I wish you were here. But that you did the next best thing, and I appreciate that as well.
And can I ask a favor? Since I have to resort to second best, if you would have me, I'd be willing to come on your show whenever you have a slot. Even if a guest has a show, I'll be willing to come on your show and just talk about Rotary, talk about some of the things, that we have planned not only for the BVI, but also for the Caribbean area as well. Because now with our global village concept and Caribbean free movement and stuff like that, we are seeing a lot of issues which we think is better solved on a Caribbean-wide basis. So I'd like to come back on your show and talk a bit about that. I know tonight was geared to encouraging young people to apply for the Group Study Exchange program. So before we leave, I'd just like to take an opportunity to tell them that we'd like them to apply for Group Study Exchange program when it comes up, and when we put that information out. And it is going to be a life-changing experience for you young people.
Yep.
Okay, my brother. Well, we're certainly going to arrange that, because I know that you and I will have a lot to talk about, particularly from a regional perspective, and all the things that we need to do collectively as a body, as a regional body, in order for our countries to be uplifted and advanced. So that's going to be an important discussion. I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to see that it happens.
Excellent. And I'd also like to apologize to Ms. Penn for leaving her alone tonight, but also to thank her for being such a good advocate and being such a good representative of BVI as she was last time, and coming back and talking to young people about their experiences. And you as well, Mr. Host. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, my brother, and congratulations, of course, on your appointment, and all the best in the coming years. I wanted to ask you a personal question. I hope you don't mind. Is this a paying job?
No, it's not a paying job. It's a volunteer job, but
because it's an awful lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but you when you can change a single life for the positive, you get such a great buzz out of that. It makes you feel so good. And when you know that you actually reverse the course of a young life and that person becomes a leader, you know it's been worth it.
Yes, my brother. Well, all the best.
So that's my payment.
That's great. All the best.
Thank you very much. And good night. Good night to everyone of you there.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. That's District Governor Vance Lewis. The brother is dynamic, energetic, and he's got a lot of information. Yeah, so it was good of him to call.
Yes, he did an awesome job.
Yeah, awesome job. And you did a fantastic job as well. And
there was so much more to share, but I guess
to have you. Well, perhaps next time you'll get the slide presentation, because that would have been great.
Yes.
To have on the screen, while we were having a conversation, to back and forth. But those are things we'll get together as time go on.
Definitely.
But it was a real pleasure to have you, and it's good to see you.
Thank you. Same to you.
And all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Good. Next week, the spotlight will shine on the water of sunlight. Yes, the water of sunlight is an epic struggle in the human spirit of a young woman pulled between her desire for crack and the street life, and her struggle and success in freeing herself and becoming a leader for rights of HIV/AIDS prisoners. Eugenia O'Neill will be here to discuss her spine-tingling new book. And every time I think Eugenia O'Neill has gotten the best she could be, she outdoes herself. And I mean, this is a fantastic read. I couldn't put it down. And I don't usually like novels or fiction. I like either non-fiction, religious books, political books. But I just, for some reason, find myself, when I pick up Eugenia O'Neill's books, and I read about 4 of them, I pick them up and I can't put them down. I read all through the night. I get up early in the morning and I just read and read. It's just, you just want to know what's going to happen next. So we're going to have her here next week to have what I'm sure is going to be a fascinating discussion about her new book. It's set in America. It's different than the others, and it's really a great read. Thank you for watching. Thanks again for your words of encouragement, for continuing to email me at jtvspotlight@yahoo.com. Of course, Spotlight is rebroadcast every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. on JTV channel 55. I'm Ed Joenka, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Rotown, Tortola, BVI.